Welcome, families. How are you? I'd like to invite you to open house. Come on in. Because we've had our shelter in place and we had open house canceled because we had school closures, I didn't want you to miss open house because the kids worked really hard on lots of things and they've been working hard all year. And this is such a nice time to be able to share their classroom with you and some of the things they do in class. So that's why I'm wearing a lemon skirt, because in spite of the lemons, we're going to make lemonade out of this and have an open house anyway. So welcome and enjoy. So I think what we'll do is we'll just start around the room. I put up much of their work, and I'll start over here. Sometimes they get to go to Science Center on Wednesday, Free Choice Day, and they get to have lots of fun. They pull out these cabinets and they have shells and rocks and magnifying glasses, magnets, lots of things to weigh. And that's always a popular place for them to go during Free Choice Day on Wednesday. We also have, they wrote letters to the Tooth Fairy. And I thought some of what they wrote was so cute. Let me find some. Actually, everything they wrote was really cute. This one, let's see, said, "Thank you for the quarters you left under my pillow last night," from Peyton. This one says, I have a cavity on my tooth. Will you still take it?" That was from Russell. Let me see another one over here. Janessa said, "Thank you for giving me $5 even though my dad lost my tooth." Lucky said, "You gave me a coin for my tooth. Will you come again?" Let's look over here. Allison asked, she said, "What do you do when you are not collecting teeth? Can you leave me some fairy dust?" And let's see, right here, Zuriel said, "Can you give me $2? I want to get a McFlurry at McDonald's." So as you can see, their writing is so creative. They have beautiful penmanship and they've been working really hard on writing great complete sentences that are interesting. Over here, of course, this is our wonderful, lovely class. And these are their pictures that they get to take around and move when they choose centers that they want to go to. Over here is kind of our classroom motto that I'd like to show you. And we say, in this classroom, we are a family. We learn from all of our mistakes because our mistakes are good and we all learn from them. And we don't just try our best, we always try our best. And we celebrate each other's successes, and we are kind and use our minds. So those are things that we like to remember in our classroom. Over here, we read a book called The Chick and the Duckling, and it's a very well-known old book by Marie Ginsberg. And it was a really cute story about a chick that hatches and then follows the duckling in everything it does. So the kids were able to learn how to paint a chick and a duckling, and then they wrote about their favorite part of the story. And let's take a look here. Ryan said, "The chick and the duckling both caught the same worm," and he painted an adorable chicken duckling. Over here, George said, "They were following all the butterflies everywhere." James said, "The duckling dived in the water to save the chick." So they all had a very favorite part of the story that they wrote about, and they really enjoyed painting chicks and ducklings. And they learned about ducklings having a bill and not a beak, and they learned about chick feet versus duck flippers, and how a chick cannot swim but a duckling can swim. So we compared at the end of that story on a graph, what are their similarities and what are their differences. Over here, this is where they come after they finish one of their centers, and it's Reading Buddies, and they read their All About Us book, which has pictures of them and things they like to do, and they get to pick a reading buddy and read. Over here would have been, but we didn't have time to do it, we would have put up there on our elephant and piggy wall what makes a good friend and how you can be a good friend. So Elephant and Piggy are our favorite characters, and they would have had good writing up there sharing what they think makes a good friend. And we're going to be making our way over to the back, but in all our windows in the back, we have, when we were studying weather, they made little storm clouds, and they had a cloud, raindrops, and a lightning bolt. And they learned about how lightning always comes first because light travels faster than the speed of sound. So that's why we always hear the thunder after we see the lightning. And they painted beautiful rainbows, and they learned about the order of the rainbow. And they also talked about what they would see at the end of a rainbow. So here they said at the end of the rainbow, James said he could see a pot of paint. And here it says at the end of the rainbow, I can see a pot of butterflies. Devaney would love to see butterflies. Nathan said at the end of a rainbow, I can see a pot of Pikachus because he is crazy about Pikachus. Colt said at the end of the rainbow, I can see a pot of tigers. And let's see, Yasmin said at the end of the rainbow, I can see a pot of lizards. Okay, now let's take a look and see. We have some more of them over here. We have some more rainbows, and at the beginning of the year, they actually made all these colors of water by singing the color word song, and Mrs. Youssef would hold a towel and they would sing a song, and it would magically turn, because their beautiful voices, the color would turn into the color that it became after they sang the right color song. So these actually are from the very beginning of school that they sang and created themselves. And if you can see on our cabinets here are some beautiful flowers they painted, because the theme of our open house is growing, and we are growing. And they have grown so much over this school year. And we also celebrated in the Central Valley, we have the Blossom Trail. And this is Blossom Trail art, because when all the almond and peach orchards and fruit orchards bloom in the Central Valley, it's absolutely beautiful. So they made their own blossom trees, and they are really beautiful. And in order to make that, they actually used a straw, and they blew with their air, they blew paint upwards, and then they used a sea sponge, and they pressed paint on with the sea sponge, and then they used a Q-tip to make the centers of the blossoms. So I always love this. I think they come out so gorgeous and pretty, and each one looks really unique. And going along with our growing and plant and garden theme, we have some of the last writing they did before we couldn't come back to school. They wrote about what kind of garden they would like. And here, let's see, Allison said, my mom loves flowers. I love vegetables. I would rather plant both. I will give some flowers to my mom, and I will eat the vegetables with my sister Kelly. That was by Allison. Here, George said, I will plant a vegetable garden. I could grow bell peppers that are hot and yummy. Let's see, right next to him, Ryan said, I will plant a vegetable garden. Vegetables are healthy and good for you. Let's see. Oh, Josiah also he said, I want to plant a vegetable garden. I will grow lots of pumpkins for pies. All of them wrote something so interesting. I see Isabella's up there. She wrote, I will grow a flower garden. I can give my teachers and family some. I can also put some in a vase on the table. So all of their writing has gotten so impressive. They're writing more than 1 or 2 sentences, and it just looks fantastic. So we'll take a little bit of a look around, a little bit more in the room. Families, I also wanted to show you that there's a lot of colorful flowers here. You would have taken this home today, and it was a flower they made showing that what plants need to grow: sunlight, water, air, and soil. And you've already taken home the plant that would have been waiting for you. And hopefully they're doing a good job taking care of it and trimming the hair on the plant. Another thing is you would have been able to do some of the activities that the kids do, like going to listening center. You would have had to sit at listening center and listen to a story. You could have done some of the learning apps on the iPads with them, because we have the iPad table set up. Also, you could read the sight words with your kids, because I know that you've been practicing with them, and I would like us to go through the sight words with them. And I'll chime in on maybe every fourth or fifth sight word, but kids, you read them to your families, okay? You read the words to them, and I'll start at the back and we'll move our way forward. And keep your eye on the red laser dot, and that will show you where we are, along with every few I'll chime in. Okay, so let's start back here. And we'll start with the word this. After this, okay, now it's your turn. The word is and. This one. Her. That's a little one with two sounds that you blend together, I and f. If. Same thing, can you blend those two sounds together to make that sight word? Now let's go over to the big wall, and you can read your family those sight words. Let's look over here. So we have the word for. Now you go. Had. Let. Let's go back up here to little. Of. They. I can hear you. You're doing a great job. Are. This is a great word. Happy. And class, this one's kind of hidden under my laptop, but it is the word when. Now let's go over to Mrs. Youssef's favorite word. You all know what that one says. And then we have the word have, the word. Now we are coming over to this side of the wall, and this one says look. I think you're doing great. I'm sure your families are proud of all the words you're reading. And. Play. Go up to the top again. We have the word go. Good job, guys. We're almost there. To. All. On. Oh, we only have about 6 more. These are the ones we learned really early on in kindergarten. My. And the word I. Also in the balloons, you have the digraph sounds of th, ch, w, and sh. And we do a lot of writing over here. That's why we have more balloons right there, that the two E's say E. We have ing and oo or So we use those right over here because this is really where we do most of our writing in this general area of the classroom. And there's two kinds that I'd like to tell you about. Families, we also do an awful lot of writing and reading and learning vocabulary. I'd like to show you every time we read a certain book, Mrs. Youssef picks ahead. This one happened to be Zinnia and Dot, a story about two hens who have one egg, and they argue about whose egg it is, and they end up arguing the whole entire time until a weasel comes in and they have to defend the egg, and then they become best of friends and very good mothers to that one baby chick that hatches. But we always have words that we pre-select and learn what those words mean. And the words they worked on for this book was the word weary, the word pandemonium, and they'll tell you they loved when we learned pandemonium because I'd let them have 30 seconds of pandemonium in the classroom, and I'd say, okay, start pandemonium, and they all would run around and go back and forth, and they had crazy running with no control, and then I'd say pandemonium stop, and they'd come sit back right down into their spot. So that was one of their favorite words from this story. We also learned the word vain, strutted, and fluttered. And what we ask them to do all the time is what good readers can do. And good readers know who the characters are. They're able to make predictions about the story. They're able to make connections. Like, do they make connections to other books? Do they make personal connections to themselves? And do they make personal connections with maybe the world? Can they retell the story in sequence? And what is their opinion? Was it a good story? Why or why not? And can they write about what they read? So those are really important things that we work on in the classroom. One way we work on that is if you had come and we had our regular open house, because we were working on things that are growing, they had read a story called Dinosaurs, My Seeds Won't Grow. And after they listen to a story at Listening Center, it's not just listen to a story and then it's over. What they do is the leader for that day guides a discussion with their group. And after the story's over, they have to discuss the characters, and they have to ask themselves, how did the characters feel? What do they look like? And what are they doing in the story? They also discuss the setting. Where did the story happen? Was it in more than one place in the story? Where was that place? What did it look like? When is it? What season? And who lives in the place that the setting was? So after they discuss that, it's really quite involved. Then they come over to their story path, and they have to stand here, and the story path is a sequence of the story. So first person, they stand in a line behind each other, and they discuss, okay, what happened? They think to themselves in the beginning of the story. Then what happened in the middle? Well, something else probably happened in the middle. And again, what happened in the middle? And what happened at the very end of the story? Then when they come to write about it, and they write, when you get papers home that says my favorite part of the story, that is what they've done before they begin to write what their favorite part was. And so when you see those papers, when they come home, you'll know all the things they had to do before they even began to get to write that part. And then writing continues here with journals. If you were here, you would get to see what they've written all year since the beginning of school and how their writing has progressed over the course of the year. And generally, when they write, before they write again, I randomly pick 3 journals and choose to write and show that as kind of a demonstration of what another friend wrote to give them ideas from the previous week. I picked 3 randomly today, and I have them here. The last thing Elijah wrote in his journal, I think there's a lot of writing. But the last thing he wrote was, me and my mom do laundry together. We do it every day. And we also learned that illustrations have to match the story. And also that good illustrators add details. And he's added the laundry machine, the washing machine and the dryer, and himself and his mom. So I think he did a wonderful job. He has periods at the end of his sentences. I have another one here. Let's see. This one was George. And George wrote on his, let's see, he said, my mom is signing me up for wrestling. I practice wrestling with my sister. So that was pretty cute that he practices before he signed up, but I guess he's doing so good that he's getting signed up for wrestling. That's also 2 great sentences. Let's see, I have one here for Natalia. And Natalia wrote, let's see. She said, my mommy got a dark lipstick for me. I can wear it to a party. And here is Natalia, and here is that dark lipstick. And she actually has it on. So I thought that their writing in journal is so interesting. And I really encourage them to be able to write any message they want to. If they sound it out phonetically, if it's misspelled, it's okay, because they're communicating on paper, and that's what's so important. And then I will get to show you a couple more things before we leave today. The kids also have been writing about what they would do when they are 100 years old, which was so interesting because their concept of what 100 years old is not what my concept would be. And even I had someone say, well, Mrs. Youssef, you don't need to dress up for the 100th day of school because you're already 100. So they don't quite get the sense of what 100 is in age, but they do know that that it is very old. And we kind of discussed what do they see or know that maybe great-grandparents do. So what they did was they made themselves as 100-year-old people with paper and wrapping paper, and they crumpled it all up, and they just came out adorable. And what they said was so interesting. Colt said, when I'm 100 years old, I will play Jenga with another grandpa. Belia said, I will have chocolate milk every day. Let's see here. Lucky said, when I'm 100 years old, I will watch TV forever. And Samar said, when I'm 100 years old, I will sleep all day long. Let's see, I'll give some other examples. Taisley said, I will wait for my grandkids to come over when she's 100. When I'm 100, Aiden said, I will be bald on top. And he made himself bald on top. Let's see. Yasmin said, when I'm 100 years old, I will sit down and do nothing. Ryan said, when I'm 100 years old, I will drink coffee and read the newspaper. Oh, I really thought this was sweet. Vanessa said, when I'm 100 years old, I will have the same friends as when I was 6. Let's look over here. We had some more. Tristan said, when I'm 100 years old, I will have fake teeth. And Allison said, when I'm 100 years old, I will drink tea by the fire at night. So they just had wonderful things. Josiah said, I will sit and just watch TV all day. So they had wonderful things to share. And as I said, the theme for this open house was We Are Growing. And I usually change the word that's up in the balloons over here every month or so. So our word for the month was the word grow. And I also wanted to make sure that you enjoyed your time here, and that even though this wasn't our regular normal open house, that you would enjoy your time here, and that you could kind of get a sense of how much work your kids do every day. And even though I might not have been able to highlight your child's work tonight, don't be rest assured that all of their work comes home at the end of the year in a keepsake box with all of their best work from kindergarten. So if you didn't see it tonight, you'll see it in a box coming home at the end of the year. And I just wish everybody safe days, shelter in place, and hope this time passes really quickly. Keep working on your distance learning packets, and we will just hope and pray that we'll be together again soon. Okay? Hope you had a good time. Goodbye.